Well, hello, everybody. This is Joe Demore, your town moderator. I wanted to establish with you a new series, and this series is going to be called the Town Meeting Study Committee. It's going to be a series of discussions, presentations regarding a very important project that was launched just last night at the Select Board meeting on June 9th. Now, this will be very similar to the roundtable discussions that we did in our community just prior to the town meeting. They should be about 20 minutes each. High impact, hopefully, but certainly high information as well, really to draw you in, make you aware of what's happening in town government, particularly around the issue of town meeting, which is my realm. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to the select board meeting and I asked the select board to consider allowing a charge to be established to allow a study committee to form for the purpose of looking at different concepts, ideas, and methods to hopefully make town meeting more appealing, more convenient, more accessible, and perhaps maybe even more fun to participate in. Not that the meeting is not fun or none of those things, but it could become a little bit more interesting for people. I think one of the things that I'm concerned about is the convenience of attending a meeting. So there's two things that I asked the select board to allow in this charge. And the charge basically request is to allow for the study committee to come together and look at two things. One of them is what's called electronic voting, and the other one is explore the possibility, see how it's done elsewhere for a Saturday town meeting. So when I asked for this, the select board did have a discussion. It was a very good discussion. They asked me some questions. And then they asked me to come back last night, which was June 9th. And they decided to issue a charge, which actually has both of those. Now, what is a committee charge? I'm going to project something here for you. Just give me a second. Let's go here. And let's go here. There we go. So a committee charge is when a board or any government authority issues a set of rules and responsibilities to a group of people, typically volunteers, in order to do something for that board. So in other words, it's called a committee charge. It is a set of rules. It's very specific. It identifies the scope. It identifies the information that needs to be discussed or investigated. So let me read it to you because it's just simpler to read it out and study it together, if you will. The select board issues a charge for the formation of a town meeting study committee for 1 year, effective June 1 of 2025, for the purpose of initiating inquiry, develop operating rules, discover and present precedents, provide information and data, and enlist the support of resources to produce a framework for transforming the fundamental processes of town meeting in Groveland. The charge includes the appointment of 7 voting members, including a voting chair. The charge directs the study committee to produce a written report and provide policy recommendations in the 2 areas of inquiry. One of them is electronic voting, and the other one is Saturday town meeting. Now, we already have 6 members who have said yes. So in 2 weeks, at the June 23rd meeting of the select board, hopefully we'll have 7 members who have submitted their names and have expressed interest in participating in this study committee. And the way we're going to organize is everyone is going to get a significant assignment. We probably will meet no more than twice this year. The first time that we meet after everyone has been appointed and sworn in will probably be in July. And then we'll meet again at the end of the year. So what are we going to do in between? We're going to do some significant homework, each one of us. And then at the meeting, we'll report to each other our findings, our research. The goal is to produce a comprehensive, detailed report within a year to be delivered to the select board, along with recommendations as to the pros and the cons and whether we should do or not electronic voting and Saturday town meeting. So it's a study group. Nothing gets implemented. So who are the members thus far besides myself? We have two select board members, Ed Watson and Steve Baker. Jen Peterson, our town clerk, will be also a member. The Director of Council on Aging, Alyssa Lee, will also be a member. Attorney Patrick Molina from our town, who's also been very busy on several boards and committees over the years, will also be on the committee. And that's a good start. And I've already sent some ideas to them. We can't discuss anything or send each other emails, but I said, hey, take a look at this. What do you think? Would this be something interesting to you in terms of the homework that you can do? We all bring certain things to the table. And what are some of the homework assignments? Well, someone needs to figure out the technology for the electronic voting, where to buy it, how much does it cost? Who are the vendors? What are the contracts? Do we buy? Do we lease? How do we use them? Do we get a chance to test them out? And somebody needs to go out and figure out Saturday town meeting. Good things about it, bad things about it, which towns in Massachusetts have switched over to town meeting on Saturdays. What are the good things they can say about it? Has it benefited the town? Again, the goal is to make it more accessible to town meeting, easier to operate in, hopefully also build up the numbers. Consider that we have about 5,700 registered voters in the town. And I think it's not the best idea or the best condition, at least in my view. This is my view. I don't know if it's shared by others, but in my view, with 5,700 registered voters, I think I would like to see 500, 600 people at each meeting, not barely 100. Now, this year we had a great success. We had over 100 people. I think it was 130 or so by 6:30. So we had a nice number. We had quorum, and it was really early, not the usual 7 o'clock. So we want to build a town meeting. It is the last form of true democracy left in this world. And we want to preserve it, but we also want to modernize it. We want to make it better in terms of more comfortable to participate in it, more accessible to more people, and perhaps even more interesting. You'll notice that this year we made some really significant changes. First of all, we had a large screen. Secondly, we decided we were going to waive reading the articles. And thirdly, we put up the motions on the screen. And now next year, we're going to build on those gains, and we're going to add some new things as well. I'm not anticipating that switching over to electric voting or Saturday town meeting is going to happen in 2026. We're going to take the slow route here. We want to be detailed. We want to do some good research. We want to have some really good discussions. And we want to also include you, as many people as possible. And because of that, my homework assignment, which I'll share with you in a few minutes, is to construct a town-wide survey. And by the way, did I mention Alyssa Lee? Yes, she's on our committee as well. Alyssa had planned to do a survey with the Council of Aging anywhere. So I've asked her to think about maybe building additional questions related to people's interest in electronic voting and Saturday town meeting. So, all right. So I've thrown that word around quite a bit, this word about electronic voting. Keep in mind that during COVID, the state of Massachusetts, the authorities, the Commonwealth, did allow for remote participation in public meetings. That has continued to some degree, but those rules never applied, ever did they apply to people being able to participate in town meetings from their home. I suppose if we could all do that, I think we would have maybe 1,000 people. If they could participate in town meeting from their home, I think we would have a very, very large number. That's not what we're talking about here. Electronic voting that is permissible in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which is something that we may want to consider, is to have a device in our hands. This device would be this one here, for example. There's different models. There's several vendors. This all has to be investigated. And we have to either buy or lease these units. But these units basically allow people privacy. And the theory is that if I come to a meeting, especially with a very sensitive topic, it might not be comfortable for me to raise my hand for or against an issue if I know that my neighbor is opposite in my views. So the general idea, and this is not my idea, this is an idea that's been floating around this town for a long time. But if we have these devices, we can vote yes or no or abstain. And also we can do so privately. The results are tabulated very quickly electronically. They're projected on a screen. It's a complete transformation and a quantum leap into a modern version of participating in a very old, almost a 400-year-old form of self-governance called town meeting. So it definitely will make us more modern, but that's not the goal. The goal is, and that's what I don't know, is if we have electronic voting, will that allow more people to come to a meeting who otherwise would not? That's the goal. And would they be more comfortable? That's the goal as well. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a little peek at my homework assignment. I'm still working on it. And then when I bring it to the committee, I will have the committee help me finish these questions. These would have to be approved. We're going to have meetings. Of course, minutes will have to be held. And we need to also, make sure that the meetings are available openly. So they'll be posted. So anybody from the town can come in and sit in our meetings. But here we go. Just a little bit of an initial survey questions here that I put together for you for your consideration, just so we can get this information out there. I don't want to surprise anybody with this. I think the select board has done the right thing. They've given us a formal charge. They've given us authority to form a study committee. Now the study committee is looking for volunteers. We need one more. We have 6 already. We're going to have to be sworn in. We're going to have to be approved. And we've got 1 year to get this report written and delivered. So this is my homework. And let's do the questions together. And if you have any questions about this, or if you have any suggestions, would you please contact me? That's my contact information right there. townmoderator@grovelandmass.com. And there's my phone number. If you have some suggestions, if you have better questions, or if you hate this idea, just contact me. Let me know what you think. You think it's a good idea, better. We want to get people involved here. We don't want to keep this embedded in a 4-hour meeting that's very difficult to find. This is why I'm going to do these small segments so I can isolate this issue and present it to you and solicit your ideas and your participation. So here we go. Here are my questions. Would you be comfortable in using a handheld electronic voting device? Do you prefer an open version of voting, such as hands or open outcry? Open outcry is what we do now. That's what we say, yay or nay. Do you prefer using an electronic handheld voting device? If you never attended or infrequently attend town meetings, would an electronic voting device lead you to consider attending more frequently or regularly? I think that's a pretty decent question. Do you believe that electronic voting would benefit the town by increasing participation and making the experience more pleasing? Do you believe that the current system of open outcry is the best procedure and should be retained? In other words, don't change it the way it is. It's okay to hear from each other openly outcrying the old-fashioned, the original way of operating a town meeting where people would, will put up their hands and yell out what the way they vote. And of course, they can also participate by making statements and so forth. Do you believe that a hands up to vote with count be a better approach? So that's an interesting question. It came up from one of our now to be committee members who said, somewhere between open outcry and having a silent situation with a electronic device, there is something that might work as well. And we might agree to change to this. We just put up our hand, whether we vote for something or not. So all those in favor, raise your hand quietly. And then all those against the measure, raise your hand. We could do that as well. So this is what it's all about. We want to invite the whole town to really think deeply about how we can change town meeting, not for the sake of changing it, but again, and I hate to be repetitive, but it bears repeating, we want to make it more interesting, more accessible, and the big C word, more convenient. And will we do that with electronic voting? Might we do that with Saturday meetings? I don't know. The study's not completed, but that's the point. So I invite you to share this information with others. I invite you to follow this information. Let me give you a couple of key dates. I'm going to project them for you so that you are aware of what's coming up right here. Some important dates. On June 10th, on June 9th, my mistake here, on June 9th, that was yesterday, the select board, let me see if I can change that right here. Okay, on June 9th, which was last night, the select board granted a committee charge to form the town meeting study group. So they granted it. I'm actively recruiting. We have 6 of us. I need 1 more, and I've reached out to about 10 or 11, about 12 people. I'm hoping to get at least 1 response. And reality is I will ask the select board to modify the charge if we get more. This is a committee that it's okay to have lots of people from different walks of life and different perspectives in town. And then on June 23rd, the select board will approve those committee members. So if you are interested, please contact me and I can provide you with some information. We can discuss it. After June 23rd, at some point in July, we will have our first meeting. And here is the agenda. We're going to review the charge. Then we're going to organize as a committee. We're going to appoint the chair and a secretary to keep minutes. Then we're going to review the available assignments. And the big ones are the Council on Aging questions, the townwide survey questions, the actual technology of the electronic voting devices, vendors, costs, contracts, leasing, buying, all of that. We also need someone to be responsible for figuring out what laws and rules apply. So if we decide, for example, to implement electronic voting, how is that actually done? Is it done by the select board? Is it done at town meeting? Is it done by a bylaw that's approved at a town meeting? So we need to figure out specifically how to implement. That's why I am not expecting, nor am I driving for anything to happen for 2026. We want to have this figured out by 2026 and then potentially implement either altogether or in phases, 1 of 2 measures. Perhaps in 2027, we may decide to give electronic voting a try, and then maybe the year after that, we might phase in Saturday meeting. There's no rush here. We want to do it well. We have a precedent in this town. We've made significant changes in our town government through study committees. The one that I was involved with a little over 10 years ago was when we looked at changing our select board from 3 to 5. And then a few years later, we looked at implementing a town administrator, and we decided to use state law temporarily to control that position. And then we had another study group that went beyond that, and we formed, it took us about 18 months, and we put together the bylaw that was approved, of course, with modifications, just recently this year at town meeting. So study committees have been a great way for us to evolve the way we govern ourselves. And I'm really proud of the fact that I've been part of that process, and I've always worked with the select board collaboratively to be able to do that. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you'll be involved. Follow the dates, follow the bouncing ball, if you will. This is an exciting a process, and it's rare that over many decades we have an opportunity to participate together in changing and evolving our town government. So again, I hope this is helpful. Reach out to me, and I appreciate your time.